Hello, beautiful. Welcome to December 19th, the last group coaching session of the year. You know how it goes. I'm going to rant and rave and tell anyone, or if anyone does show up, remember, if you can't show up to the live group coaching sessions, email me or connect with me on the community boards, and I can answer your questions live, a lot more in depth this way. I know it's about to become Christmas, so I'm sure people are just sinking in and surrendering to the Christmas holidays, hopefully not rushing around too much, but I know how it goes. This time of year, I really surrender to not doing all the hustle and bustle that society says that we should do around this time. I really believe in like the summer solstice, which is the winter solstice, about, really kind of planting the seeds and settling in and getting ready for the light, the sun to shine a lot more on us. So yeah, like good intentions and all those things. I do like a social media detox usually this time every year, but it's funny. I have really just like brought a lot more of social detox to my regular day, week, or like I would say weeks and months now. So I don't feel the pressures to like completely get off of it like I have done in the past. I know that is a part of this course. The formula is really detoxing some of the areas in our lives that we either have gotten sucked into, we use as procrastination methods or coping mechanisms. I saw this post today, speaking on being on social media, but it was this guy who like was a Buddhist monk or sat with Buddhist monks for like, many days. And he gave his like 30 top things that he learned. And he, one of them was like procrastination is so you don't have to sit with, the big emotional feelings. And like that one hit my soul. I was like, oh yeah, I feel that one. But yeah, it's really important just to, take this time. Hopefully we're not working as much because we just have time off for the holidays. Even like with family and friends, like my mom is always like really sad that I don't come home for Christmas. And I'm just kind of like, one, I don't want to travel with the rest of the world. Like, no, thank you. And two, it's just a time to chill and just be present and, be at home. Um, Obviously in Hawaii, we're a little bit more fortunate with the weather, so it's not even like bunkering down and sitting in our home and doing nothing. But as I say that, the weather is like really shit here today. So yeah. One of the topics that I wanted to cover today was about, this is an issue one of my one-to-one clients is dealing with, and it could be incredibly frustrating. But sometimes when you make a decision to dive deep and really look at what the steps you need to do to heal, you actually have to take a few steps back before you can go a few steps forward. And I can really resonate with this. This is, I didn't necessarily felt like I took steps backwards, but I kind of felt like I did in a way as well when you are quote unquote detoxing your body. And detox happens in lots of different ways. Detox can happen by just eliminating the inflammation caused by certain foods or stress or all that. I know that I was on a really high sugar diet and I didn't realize it through fruit and through like the processed food I was eating that was quote unquote healthy. The canned foods or the glass bottles of jars, all those like hidden things, right? And I started dealing with headaches for a solid, I think, like 2 weeks. And this was something that I never dealt with. I did not have headaches. So it was like, WTF, what is going on? I thought this like clean eating lifestyle was supposed to make me feel better and be like, start working wonders right away. and it was like the complete opposite. And right now I have a client whose gut health test came back, probably the lowest I've ever seen one. And so much so, I actually wanted some extra support and guidance. So every time I do these tests for clients, and do a review for them, so either the one-to-one coaching that comes with the price package, here in the formula, if you do the gut health test, you obviously don't have to pay me to do it. But if you want in like a pretty intense review and action plan, then you pay like the coaching fee. And when you do that, I can actually book a coaching call with some of the experts within the gut microbiome offices. And so I booked in a consultation, and even he was like, wow, this is crazy. And I was like, yeah, this is why I really needed to talk to someone about this, because I've never seen so many levels be at 0. And he just confirmed my suspicions, and yeah, it was just like, you know me, I'm all about mind sharing and like seeking the right information. But we had to start with a detox, like a real liver, gallbladder, flush detox. And this was really important to be able to prime the body to really start functioning in a better way and start receiving the nutrients, because she was already on a clean diet. Like most of you guys you guys are, doing pretty close to the quote unquote correct things for yourself. You're really finding your food intolerances, bringing in the nourishing food. So even though we did an MRT test with her and we found a few, well, no, like it actually did suck for her, because she found out she was intolerant to chicken, and chicken was something she was eating a lot of because it's healthy and good for us. And she was drinking a lot of chicken-based broth as well. So anyways, um, yeah, but and I think that was the frustrating thing for her, was that she didn't understand why she was eating such this clean diet, doing quote unquote all the right things, and not seeing the results she wanted. She was using IVF, and what was happening, and I think I've talked about this in a previous community chat, is that when you're doing IVF, um, sometimes doing kind of the layering of the diet and all the quote unquote right things isn't going to work for you, because one, the inflammation from the IVF, the stress and everything that has happened to you before is like too great. You can't just like, like layer on these like quote unquote quick fixes. I don't feel like she felt those were quick fixes, but like the supplementation and like the diet, and that sometimes you got to go real deep, clear, like really prime the area, then to allow yourself to start healing. Because one of the issues she was having is that her gut health was so low. And even though she wasn't having like major gut health issues, she wasn't taking in the nutrients. So she was spending all this money, all this time and effort eating this perfect diet. And like the body just was like, nah, like I'm too kind of sick to take on what you're giving me. And I know that was that's a big thing for a lot of people, and why diet doesn't necessarily work for people is because their gut health is so low, and there isn't necessarily like huge obvious signs, or we're just not looking at the symptoms from a functional perspective. If you're not working with someone like myself, or someone who's trained in, looking at fertility from a holistic functional aspect. So she's doing these detoxes, and these detoxes are rough. They're not fun. They cause a lot more inflammation, because you're detoxing the shit that's like in your body. And yeah, you feel ill and you just feel like rubbish, right? You feel hungover, your stomach's a little bit upset. So now here you are, you've paid all this money for a health coach to make you feel better and get you on the right path. And, in your mind, you're like, okay, here we go. It's all going to be like rainbows and sunshines and magical unicorns. And then all of a sudden, like you feel worse than as you did before. Sometimes you can have like period issues, meaning that you might get like bleeding and spotting during like ovulation or around that time, or your cycles might go a little bit wonky because we are, when you start healing the body and detoxing the body, the hormones are going to be affected, right? Until we get to that healing phase. So it can be really frustrating, but it's super important to look at the individual cases. And this is why the gut health test is like hands down one of the best investments I think anyone can make in their health. Is that I could have never guessed that for her. I could have had like an inclination, like I could have said like, oh, maybe, maybe let's just try this detox first. But yeah, that would have just been like throwing darts in the dark. And to be honest, I never put anyone on a detox unless I know that they actually need it, because it is not a pleasant thing to go through. Sorry. All right. Sorry for the interruption, and I've totally lost my train of thought. So yeah, anyways, when we are getting ready to make some big changes, sometimes we do have to take 2 steps back to make those big leaps of moving forward. We don't want to continue to be doing the same things that quote unquote haven't worked. We do want to improve and understand and see where we can tweak things to really maximize the time that you take to heal, right? Like we don't want to be doing this for 6 more months. And a lot of us don't necessarily need that much time to heal. But sometimes when we are taking steps back, we got to do these detoxes for 3 weeks, and then we got to move into a second phase of cleaning stuff up. And then the healing can really begin, and you can kind of really just slot into a nice, easy routine of your new lifestyle, because that's really what this all comes down to, and what I'm really, really super excited with a lot of the feedback that I'm getting from just followers on IG, clients, people here in the community, and that this is now becoming much more than just seeing 2 pink lines or just getting pregnant, that they actually are raising their consciousness of who they are, who they want to be, how they want to live their life, how they want to approach motherhood. And I know this was so true for my own journey. And if you would have told me that at the beginning, I would have just thought you were freaking crazy, right? Or just didn't would have said, I don't really care. There's not really anything that I need to improve on. And that couldn't have been further from the truth. Um, so yeah, when you are doing, these deep dives and going in deep, whether it be with gut health, whether it be with diet, whether it be with your stress levels, mental, emotional levels, trauma, detoxing from social media or a work environment, or even just family and friends that you need to step away from, you do start, the blinders basically come off, and you start seeing the bigger picture for yourself. So it's exciting. Like I'm always super excited for people when this kind of mindset clicks for them, because yeah, like I don't want to say like, well, basically, if you or your spirit babies are watching, which if you have spirit babies attached to you, they are watching. And they're super excited. They're super excited that you're shifting, because, you know, a lot of the times that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for you to open the door for more joy and more love and a healthy body and more consciousness, for them to come in. Um, and you got to think of it as like a little bit of an honor because your babies are like, I don't want to deal with that bullshit. Fix it before I come. Like, I don't want that. Right. And the more that you're able to do before your first child comes, or if it's your second or your third, or hell, even your fourth, the less that they have to deal with your bullshit, because that's basically what it comes down to. I know for me, you know, and I really want to say you don't have to deal with all your bullshit before your kids come. I did not. I didn't even know that there was this next level of healing and growth. It's always a little bit of a surprise for me. Um, so that's the good part, right? Like, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything sorted. But what I would say is when become more conscious, the easier it is to move through things. And that's a really big blessing for yourself, because when you do have kids or more kids, um, it's just incredibly hard because you just don't have the time like you used to have the time, and no one can explain that to you or make you really, really get it until you have kids. And I know that's a really shitty thing to say, and I'm sorry. I used to hate it when people said it to me, but it's just true. Life is so dramatically different, um, and in so many different ways. So, like I said, whether you have 0 kids, 1 kid, 2 kid, 3 kids, the kids that come into your life are going to need more space and more of your time and energy. And there is no perfect balance to motherhood. I think we just all naturally kind of tend to lose ourselves. Um, and so the more you're able to know yourself and deal with the BS and move through that, when you have less time, it's gonna not feel so heavy and overwhelming, and you will be able to just, handle it with a lot more grace. So, anyways, that was a little tangent. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and we will see you soon.